Hey guys, welcome back to Java tutorial series. In today's lecture, we will be studying about our next types of conditional statements. In previous lecture, we have studied about the if statements and modifications related to if. Now in this lecture, we will be studying about switch case. Switch case is a type of an alternative to the if statements and works in a different way. It has some advantages and disadvantages compared to if else. We will talk about those in future lectures, but now in this lecture we will be studying about the syntax and the terminology related to it. So the first statement which might, or the first question which you might have is, what is switch case? Switch case is basically a type of conditional statement in which you accept a number from the user by displaying some options, or just randomly accepting from the user and displaying or executing some statements which are placed or which are there in those blocks. In this case, the block starts with the case, the number of that case, and a break at the end. So basically, you accept some variable from the user, mostly a integer, and then you execute a particular block which has the number or the case similar to that of accepted on. So basically, if you accept one from the user, then you will run the first case, and so on. So let's understand this with the help of the syntax. As you can see on your screen, I have typed the syntax of the switch case program or the switch case. Now this basically includes some system.out.println statements to give the output from to the user, to ask him to give us some values so that we can execute those cases. Now as soon as the user enters the value, we accept it using the statement a is equal to int.nextInt, which is the input statement for integers in Java programming. Now as soon as this integer is stored in the variable a, we put that variable a in switch. Now switch basically does that, tries to match that data present in that variable, which is basically the number present in that variable, and compares it to the cases present below. So if the number or the data which is present in that variable is 1, 2 or so on, then it will compare it with 1. If that is satisfied, means that variable is equal to 1, it will execute the case 1. Now as soon as the case 1, the system executes the statements present in that block. Now let's discuss some terminologies based in switch case. The first term which is related to switch case is control variable. Control variable is an argument which we accept from the user, which states that which case should be executed by the system. So if we enter 1, then the system will execute the first case. The second keyword or the second term related to switch case is break. Break basically is used at the end of the case and marks the end of that block. Now what will happen if we do not use the break keyword? If we do not use the break keyword, then the system will undergo fall through. Fall through is basically jumping from one case to another, means the system will not terminate at the case 1. It will move on to the second case and start executing those statements which we do not want. So it is important to use break. Now what will happen if the user enters a number which is not present in the cases mentioned by us? In that case, the system will run the default one. So for example, if we have given only 4 to 5 cases, in that case the system only execute those cases if and only if this user enters the number from 1 to 4 or 1 to 5. If the user enters number such as 78 or 97, in that case the system will run the default block and execute those statements which come under that default block. So these are some terms related to switch case. Let's write a small program by just modifying these statements and writing some statements in those blocks. So as you can see on your screen, I have already written those important syntax and the header files. Now let's give some output to the user using the statement system.out.println. Now here we will give India, and let's give China. Now if the user enters the number 1, then we will, when the system will accept that using the in dot next int, put it in the switch case and check for the number. Now if the user enters the number 1 by seeing the options, so the system will accept that variable, put it into switch and search for the case 1. Now we will write the statements present in the case 1, basically the statements of the block case 1. So we will write system.out.println Indian and a semicolon at the end. Now if this user entered number 2, then the system will run the case 2, and in that case we will give the output as Chinese. And a semicolon at the end. Now what if the user entered a number which is not present in the cases? In that case the system will run the default, and yes, if for the default also you have to use the break statement, or if we don't use the break statement, the system will give us a runtime error and will continuously keep on typing some things. So let's write wrong choice and a semicolon at the end. Now let's compile this. As you can see, there is no syntax error. Now we will try to run our program. See, the system asked us to enter one of the following, so let's enter 1. The output is Indian because we selected the number 1 and the system executed the statements present in the case 1. Now let's try this with by entering some random number which is not present in cases to check the default statement. See, we have received the wrong choice because the case 12 does not exist in our program, hence the system gave us the output as wrong choice. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching the video. If you have any sorts of doubt, you can ask me in comment section below. Thank you.